The Paleo Ark mods are some of the most well-made and popular mods in Ark, and they add a bunch of new remastered TLC creatures known as Evo creatures, as well as their own new creatures. And in this video, I'm going to be going over every new Evo creature, as well as every new creature, and just everything that's coming to the Paleo Ark mods in the future that we know right now. First off, we have the Paleo variant of the Empyrosaurus. This one is going to be coming very soon, might even be out by the time this video comes out. But yeah, new variant for the Empyrosaurus, as well as a Revenant variant for the Empyrosaurus that's going to spawn on Lost Colony. So that one's really cool. I hope we get more Revenant variants of these creatures. The first new creature I want to talk about is the Simbakubwa. This is a new creature that's going to be coming very soon, probably late February to March, but I'd say it's probably going to be around March time. We got a bunch of in-game screenshots of it, and it looks really good. I'm very excited for this one. This one's going to be like a giant, lion type creature, and you can see it's very big. It's way bigger than like a Thyla or anything like that. Kind of seems like it's more like on the Andrewsarchus side, maybe even a little bit bigger than that. So very excited for this one. The Simbakubwa is a carnivorous mammal, as you could probably tell. It is a later game tame, or it's going to be a later game tame when it comes to the game, as well as it's going to be rideable, and it's going to have pack hunting behaviors. I imagine that's going to be similar to like dire wolves and stuff like that, where they hunt in packs, but it could even be a little bit different. We'll have to see. And it has a unique ability where it can extract bone marrow from the bones that it's scavenged. We'll have to see how that works, but that's the information that we know about it right now. So I'm going to be talking about the mods in sections based on what mods they're coming from. So we're going to be talking about the hard-hitting Herbivores pack first, which already has the Evo Therizinosaurus, but it will be adding the Evo Brontosaurus, and this one's going to be very soon. It's going to release alongside the Simbakubwa, so we'll have both of those coming out at the same time. With Brontosaurus, this one's getting a completely new model and basically changing it completely, and it looks way better than the current Bronto, because the current Bronto is a joke, and I really wish it would get a TLC because it really needs one, but this is what we're going to get. So this is basically just getting the TLC for the Bronto. Very excited for it. You can see the animations for it look great, and I'm very excited for it. It's got a roar as well, which is pretty cool because the original one doesn't have a roar. I mean, the original one basically has nothing other than like a tail swipe. The Evo Bronto is going to have some different behaviors in the wild compared to normal. Mainly is it's going to become in herds, kind of like the bison. So the highest level it's going to follow. So there will be a herd of Brontos. There will be like a highest level one that all the other Brontos come and follow, which I'm pretty sure is exactly how the bison work. So that's going to be awesome to see a giant herd of Brontos. I'm very excited to see that. I think there needs to be more dinos that come in like herds and packs like that, because, you know, obviously it makes sense. That's how the dinosaurs were. And it just looks way cooler just seeing a herd of dinosaurs in the wild. Bronto's obviously going to get some new abilities as well, because like I said, the current one basically does nothing other than like a little tail swipe. So the first thing is going to be like a tail whip. So it kind of is like the normal tail swipe that's in here, but it's going to be redone a little bit. So as you can see, that's what it kind of looks like. To me, it just looks like a tail whip, like it's kind of like whipping its tail, and it looks really cool. You're going to be able to kill a bunch of stuff that's like right next to you, and the animation for it also looks great. And then it's also going to have a giant stomp ability, which you're also going to be able to like change directions in. So you can kind of face another direction and then do a stomp where you move in that area. Very cool. I imagine that's probably going to do a ton of damage because you're doing a stomp with all the body weight of it. But it also looks great too. And I imagine they're also going to have like the 360 omnidirectional movement on this thing as well, because they've done that with like every other creature. So I imagine the Bronto will also get better movement with this update, as well as, you know, just having the stomp and the tail whip attack. Also, something to mention is it will have a platform saddle when it launches. So when this update comes out, that to the hard-hitting Herbivores pack that adds the Bronto, it's going to come with a platform saddle, so you won't have to worry about a platform saddle getting removed. The next update that's coming to the hard-hitting Herbivores pack is the Diplodocus. And we don't really know much about this one other than these two screenshots we have of the model. That is, of course, a work in progress. But yeah, we don't really know too much. I imagine it's going to get a lot better. I think they are going to make it to where it can deal damage too. I'm not entirely sure on that, but I'm pretty sure they are doing that. So that'll also be nice. It can actually defend itself. Next up is the Evo Ankylosaurus, which will be coming to the hard-hitting Herbivores pack. And this one is actually already out as a preview, so it's like in early access. You can spawn it in. It's not done though, like not even close. Like it's literally just like the animations. You can like walk around. It doesn't have any of its attacks and stuff. It's mainly just to kind of show it off so people can give some feedback on it, as well as, you know, see what it looks like early. So this is the footage of that you're seeing in the background, and I really love the look of this. This looks way better than the default Anki. I didn't even really know I needed an Anki TLC until I saw this one, but this one's pretty awesome. As well as this one's going to be kind of made into more of a mid to late game kind of metal harvester, and it will be replaced with another creature, which we'll get in a minute. But it's going to become a way better metal harvester, it seems, which is pretty exciting. Also, here's some of the animations for it walking and running. That's about all the animations that are done when it comes to the preview version of the Anki. Something else to note about the Ankylosaurus is it's a lot bigger than the default one. As you can see right here, the normal Anki is on the right side, the Evo one's in the center, and on the left there is the Edmontonia from the Ark Editions mods. So that one on the left is a modded creature, but I think that gives you a good sense of scale. Honestly, I think the Anki should be around this size because it feels kind of small in Ark. But yeah, it looks a lot better than the default one, so you can kind of see what it looks like compared. It is way longer than it too, as you can clearly see. The Evo Ankylosaurus is also going to have a forge saddle, which is pretty awesome. I feel like people have kind of been asking for this for the Anki. I've definitely seen it in mods before. Not like a forged saddle, but I remember there was like old like fire Ankis from different mods that would smelt metal in its inventory. But this is like a actual really cool way of doing it with the forge saddle here. And obviously it's just going to smelt the metal in its inventory. But also it's got a few other features, like it has the ability to store more metal, as you can see at the bottom left there. So I imagine that's just going to give you a weight reduction to metal. That's my guess on what that would do. As well as you can have a second seat where you can actually, seems like you can pan the flames of the forge and make it go faster. So if you have second person in there, you can get it faster going, you know, forging metal speeds. Next creature that's going to be in this mod is going to be the Patchy, and this is what I meant when I said that there was going to be a replacement for metal harvesting. They're basically going to make the Evo Patchy have the role of the Ankylosaurus originally, so it's going to be an early game metal harvester. Pretty simple to tame, and it's going to get metal, but not nearly as efficient as the Anki is going to in the modded version. So very excited to see this one. Also looks like they're making it a little bit bigger, which is a plus, because I think the Patchy is way too small in the game currently. And yeah, pretty excited for that one. And as you can see as well, there's a Stygimoloch variant of this as well. And both the Patchy and the Ankylosaurus should be releasing alongside each other, since, you know, the Patchy is going to be replacing the role of the original Anki. The next creature that's getting an Evo variant is the Patchy Rhino. And this one we don't actually have a picture of, or at least I couldn't find any images of the Paleo version. So you're just going to have to imagine what it's going to look like. Of course, a lot of these, they don't have Paleo versions yet. They're just planned for the distant future, so that's how the Patchy Rhino is. Next creature that's going to be in this mod is the Parasaur. This one is going to be changed quite a lot. It's going to become more of a mid-game creature, so not the early game super easy tame that it is now. So it's also going to have another creature that's going to replace it, which we'll get into a little bit. But the Parasaur, as you can see, a lot bigger, and it looks a lot more like Parasaur. I do love this look for it, especially at walking on all four legs as well. I think it looks pretty great. When it comes to the abilities, it's going to be able to, you know, like make sounds to do buffs and debuffs on enemies and buff allies. I don't know if it sounds exactly. It says here that it's similar to the Monster Hunter's hunting horn weapon. I've never actually played that game, but I did look it up, and you can kind of use it to create buffs and allies, or buffs for allies and debuffs for enemies when you're using the weapon. So it's going to be similar to that with the Parasaur. Next creature for the mod is the Iguanodon. And as you can see, this one looks pretty gnarly looking. It looks a lot different than the current Iguanodon that's in the game. And this one's also going to be moved to more of a mid-game creature, no longer an early-game tame. And it's going to be more of like a brawler type creature. That's all we really know about it so far. The next creature in the hard-hitting Herbivores mod is the Gallimimus. I feel like this one's probably one of the ones that's pretty far out. But this one also, the only note about it is it's the smallest of the bunch. So might be one of the easier ones to tame if I had to throw a guess out there. But yeah, I don't really know too much about the Gallimimus Evo variant. Keep in mind, this is also the dossier of the official one, so this is not the Evo galley right here. The last creature that will be in the hard-hitting Herbivores mod is the Corythosaurus. This is the only new creature that's coming. All the other ones are, Evo TLC variants. This is actually a brand new creature, and it's going to be added to kind of fill that gap in the early game where the Parasaur and the Iguana used to be. This one will be added to kind of replace them. It's going to have all of the abilities of the Parasaur and the Iguana and a little bit more. So this one's going to be, it sounds like, if it has both of the abilities from the Parasaur and Iguanodon, which is what it sounds like, this thing's going to be pretty awesome. Plus more stuff. So the Corythosaurus is going to be pretty awesome. It's going to be nice to actually see this dino in the game too. But like I said, that's the last creature we know of that's coming to the hard-hitting Herbivores mod pack. Now we're moving on to the Apex Predators mod, which already adds the Evo Giga and the Rex, but they are going to be adding the Evo Rex tech saddle. I'm very excited for this one because, of course, right now we don't have access to the tech saddle if you're using the mod, but there will be access to it at some point. As you can see, it looks really cool, really well detailed, so very excited to get this one. I imagine it's going to work how the normal one does, where you can shoot the lasers out. I don't know if there's going to be any extra abilities, but like I said, it just looks really cool. The only new Evo creature we know about for this mod is the Spinosaurus, and very excited for this one because I think the Spinosaurus in Ark is pretty lame. These two pictures are the default Spinosaurus, by the way, in case anyone's a little confused. But yeah, that's the default ones. The only picture we do have is a silhouette of what the Spinosaurus is going to look like. So this is what it looks like, just the silhouette of it, and it looks pretty cool from this so far. Just the outline of it, I think it looks better than the default Spino, even though I don't think it's that hard to beat, because like I said, default Ark Spino is just alright, I feel like it could be better, and obviously I think this mod's probably going to make it. Also, since the Ark official Giga is getting a TLC update, some people might be wondering what's going to go on when that happens with the Evo Giga. Obviously, it's still going to be in the mod, but when it comes to the spawns, it's going to be dependent on what wildcard ends up doing with their Giga for like what the spawns are going to be like on this guy. But one option that they might end up doing is they might take the official Giga, that's the new TLC version, and then give it the abilities of the Paleo Giga as well as the abilities that it comes with, and then kind of name it like a Legacy Giga, Paleo Giga, kind of like the Legacy Rex. And if they do that, then it's going to look like the wildcards version of it. It'll just have the abilities of the Evo Giga, but that'll just be a variant, and there'll still be the Evo Giga in the game. But that's not like confirmed. That's just like an option that they might go for. That's all dependent on what the official wildcard Giga is actually going to end up looking like. But that is all that is here for the Apex Predators mod, and we're going to be moving on to the next mod. The next mod pack is the Ice Age Icons. This one isn't out yet, so we don't have any creatures from it yet, but we do know of it. And the first one I'm going to be talking about is the Woolly Rhino. I'm pretty hyped for the Ice Age pack itself because it's mainly around mammals, and we don't really have that many mammals from the Paleo Ark mod yet. We are going to have a few soon, but, pretty excited for this one. So this is the Woolly Rhino. This is the only picture I have of it. As you can see, it's just the model, not even a finished model yet, and of course there's no fur on it either, so you're going to have to imagine the fur on there a little bit. But definitely looks a little bit better just from the regular Woolly Rhino. But we don't really know about the abilities and stuff. Obviously, it's probably going to keep the abilities that it has right now, which is like the charge ability. I imagine it's going to keep that because they usually don't remove abilities from creatures. So, yeah. Next creature in this mod pack is the Smilodon, which is going to be the Evo version of the Sabertooth. And, yeah, it's going to be the same creature. It's going to replace the Sabertooth with the Smilodon. And looks definitely a lot better in the model. And we'll have to see what it looks like, because of course right now all we have is this model, which isn't complete, doesn't have fur on it or anything. These are just very early stages of what it's going to look like, but so far I think it looks pretty good, and I'm excited to see what abilities they give to the Saber, because I feel like the Saber's kind of fallen out of the use recently. Like, nobody really uses it anymore. I mean, maybe some people use it like early game for caving, but not really anymore. There's so many creatures that kind of outshine it, so I'd like to see this one come back into the spotlight. After that, we have the Evo Megaloceros. Definitely love the look of this one. Looks so much better than the default Megaloceros in the game. And I love the antlers, too. I think they match perfectly with, like, the real-life ones that I've seen. So, definitely looking this. The color patterns on it are also great, too. Because normally it's kind of just the same color all across the body. But this one, it's got a lot of color in it, which I'm liking in that fur. So, As you can see, it's the most complete out of all these ones. I think this one might even be the first one coming. I'm not entirely sure on that, so don't take my word for it, but I mean, it is the most complete one, so I think it might be coming first. And I believe they said that this one would be pretty easy to finish up, so hopefully we see this one soon, because I'm pretty hyped for this Megaloceros one as well, because the Megaloceros also kind of sucks in Ark. I actually still do use it to gather thatch, so maybe they'll actually make it even better harvesting thatch. That'd be kind of nice, but I imagine they'll give it even more abilities that actually make it useful. The next mod coming to the Ice Age icons is the Terror Bird, and this one looks a lot scarier than the original Terror Bird, even though I think the original Terror Bird was kind of scary, especially when I first started playing Ark, but this one I think is even more terrifying, and that's going to be fun, even without the fur on it. I'm excited to see what it looks like with the fur on it. Hopefully it has those really cool colors like the Megaloceros did. But yeah, not really too much to say about this, as we don't really know a ton about it or any of its abilities, but we just know this model right here is all we have, and I think it looks pretty nice. Next creature is the Evo Paracer, which is going to be pretty cool. I've actually seen what the model looks like, and I think it looks pretty good so far, but I saw that in the Discord server in one of the live streams they do on the Up from the Depths Discord server, which I'll have a link to that in the description, because that's the best way to stay up to date with all the Paleo Ark mod stuff. So check the links in the description if you want more information on that and to join the server. But you know, this is what we know of the Paracer. These images aren't the Paleo ones, just remember they're the default Ark ones. But yeah, we don't really know too much information about it, but we do know that they are working on it because there is a model made of it. And the last creature for the Ice Age icons is the Doedicurus. Also saw that one in the same live stream, and I feel like it looked a lot bulkier, but I think it looked a little bit more accurate to the real life Doedicurus. So pretty hyped for this one as well, but once again, not really too much to say about it because there's not really much information about it because these are pretty far off. Moving on to the next mod pack, which is going to be the awesome Arthropods pack, which also is not out yet, but it will be out at some point in the future. And right now we have the Dung Beetle, which we know is going to be in there, and the model for it seems to be complete. There's a lot of pictures of the Dung Beetle, and it looks a lot better than the current one. I didn't really think about the Dung Beetle ever getting a TLC, but this one actually makes it look pretty cool in here, and it's going to get some new quality of life improvements, and you know, some new animations and stuff like that. So we'll have to see what that entails, but you know, hopefully it makes getting fertilizer a lot easier. I mean, it already does make getting fertilizer easier, but maybe it'll make it even easier. The next Evo variant will be the Arenio. Now, they are doing a official variant in Ark, like an official TLC for the Arenio, which is coming out sometime early this year. But I'm pretty sure they're still doing an Arenio one. I'm not actually entirely sure on that, but I think it might be possible. So I thought I'd include it in here anyway. So yeah, because they were originally planning to do one, and they haven't said anything about not doing one anymore. But yeah, that's the Arenio. Obviously, they can give it some new abilities, but it's going to be probably dependent on what the official wildcard one does, because whatever abilities they add to the wildcard one, I imagine they'll want to add that to this one as well. One thing I would hope it could do is obviously climb walls, and hopefully it can like shoot out a web and like climb on that web. I feel like that would be kind of cool. Like you could make webs like kind of like zip lines, and then you can like kind of run across them. I think that's a really cool idea. If they don't do that in the wildcard one, hopefully they do that one in the Paleo Evo variant. Next creature for this mod pack is the Lymantria, which is the Scorched Earth Moth, and pretty hyped for this one. This seems to be like the only like DLC exclusive creature they're doing an Evo variant for, and I'm pretty excited for it, mainly because I think the normal Lymantria kind of sucks, and that sucks because, you know, having a giant rideable moth is pretty cool. And as you can see right here, they're making it a little bit bigger, as well as giving it like a larva state, which I'm pretty sure in order to tame this variant, you're going to have to get the larva of it. Like you can't tame the ones in the wild. So that's going to be kind of cool if that is what ends up happening. There's also a little bit of animations here, so you can see what some of the animations look like. But I think they're making this one like a bit more late game. I'm going to say more mid-game, late game, because right now it's kind of like an early game flyer. I think they're making it like a little bit harder to get, but a better tame, which I'm very much down for. I think the Lymantria should be better. The next creature is the Arthro. Now, these pictures are from the base game because there is no Paleo variant shown off yet, mainly because the Arthro is planned for a later date, and I think that means that it's not going to be coming for quite a while. This one's more kind of like a down the road kind of thing. It's not going to be coming anytime soon, but I'm pretty sure it will be coming at some point. It's just not really like, a priority right now. But curious to see what they do with this one, because I don't really use Arthros that much, but I'm also not a PvP player. I think they're probably more useful in PvP, but we'll have to see what they do with this one. And the last creature for the awesome Arthropods pack is the Pomleoscorpius. And this one is the exact same story as the Arthro. It's not planned for any time soon, and probably will come. It'll just be at a later date. This one, I think, does definitely need a boost because nobody uses this thing anymore. I mean, people might have used it back in like 2015, but it's basically never been used since then. It kind of sucks. So it would be nice to see this one get a buff. Moving on to the next mod pack, which is the Dangerous Depths mod pack. This one already has the Evo Mosasaurus in it, and it's going to be adding the Evo Elasmosaurus next, which is going to basically be the Evo version of the Plesiosaur. It's going to replace the Plesiosaurus in Ark with the Elasmosaurus. As you can see, it's pretty big, and you can also go on land as well. So here's it on land, right next to an Evo Giga, so pretty big. Very excited to see what they do this one, because I actually did really like the Plesiosaur for a while. I always liked how fast it was, but I always hated how hard it was to hit stuff with it. So hopefully they can fix that and actually make it fun to attack stuff and not like absolutely miserable to try and hit stuff with it. I think that would make it pretty awesome. As you can see, the model is pretty much complete with all the colors and everything. It looks fantastic. Looks so much better than the Plesiosaur, because the current Plesiosaur looks like a joke. So the Elasmosaurus is pretty sweet looking. They're also planning this one to be the next release, which is going to come after the Brontosaurus and the Simbakubwa, which will come in Genesis Part 1. They're planning to try and release it when Genesis Part 1 comes out, because of course Genesis Part 1 has the ocean biome and the giant new ocean biome that they're adding. So obviously they want to have a new ocean creature to release alongside that. So they're going to try and get it out to release alongside Genesis Part 1 in what they're saying is Q2. So that could either be like April, May, or June. So we'll have to see when Genesis Part 1 comes out. My guess is the latest option, which is probably like the very last day of June. The next creature to get an Evo variant is the Megalodon. And I'm very excited for this one. I think this one might be maybe in like my top 5 for my most anticipated. It's kind of hard to be anticipated for the underwater ones because, underwater in Ark does kind of suck. But Megalodon, I do want the Megalodon just to be better because I think the Megalodon in Ark sucks. I've never really liked it that much. I think it's way too small and they spawn way too many of them. And the good thing about the Evo Megalodon variant is it's going to spawn way less and it's going to be a lot more rare, like how it should be. They shouldn't just be a million Megalodons roaming around. And I think they said that they're going to get another creature to kind of replace the Megalodon's role where there's a million of them around. I'm pretty sure they said that, so that'll be nice. But what I'm mainly excited for is the fact that the Megalodon's going to be rarer. And also, they're going to keep the tech saddle on it, so that's going to be nice too. But also, I really hope they make it bigger, like a lot bigger. I want this thing to be scary. I want to poop my pants when I see this thing out in the wild. Like, I think it needs to be just an absolute force to be reckoned with. Really hard to tame, really hard to get, like a super late game creature. That's what I would want from it. This is just me saying what I want out of it. So I hope we see something like that. Just make the Megalodon awesome. Also, I'll mention it here, even though I know it's obvious for some people, but these pictures of the Megalodon are the official game ones. They're not the Evo variants. We don't have pictures of the Evo variant, and I think it's going to be a while before they even start working on the Evo Megalodon. Next creature coming to the Dangerous Depths mod is the Dunkleosteus. This one, I feel like is already pretty good in Ark because of its resource harvesting abilities. Like, it gets tons of stone and metal and all that stuff underwater. So I imagine they're just going to make that even better. Maybe they can make it a little bit faster because it is like one of the slowest things you could ever ride on in this game. It's a snail's pace. This thing is really slow. But they could also make it, maybe like give it some more like tank features, with that armored head. You can maybe make it like super strong. I think it already kind of has damage reduction. But they could do something like that, like giving it more of a tank role. It doesn't really say what it's doing. This is all just my speculation on what they're going to do with it. But we'll have to see on that one. I am pretty excited to see what they do with this guy. And the next Evo variant for this mod is the Leopleurodon. Of course, this and the Dunkleosteus, I'm just using the official dossiers from Wildcard for these. We don't have any game models of them yet or anything like that. Leopleurodon. This one, I am also very hyped for this and the Megalodon. I guess, I don't know, and the Elasmosaurus. I'm all pretty excited for a lot of them, but this one I'm excited for mainly because right now the Leoplorodon is like basically useless in Ark. It's insanely rare, and you only get it for 30 minutes when you tame it. Now, it does have the ability to make your loot better, and it gives you a buff that's like 12 hours or 6 hours long that increases loot quality, but that's all this thing is. It's literally just a buff. It's not even a creature. You just tame it for the buff, and then it disappears. This is going to change that, so it's not just a buff anymore. So, obviously, the first change, they're making it a permanent tame, which I think it just needs to be like that in Ark. I don't know why it's not. It's pretty stupid, but they're making it a permanent tame. Then they're giving it a saddle, which is going to be cool. You know, I love the saddle designs in the Paleo Ark mods. They always look incredible, so getting a cool saddle for this guy is going to be sweet. And that also means you're going to get some extra armor for him as well. But it's going to have like the ability to do buffs and debuff abilities underwater. So very excited for that. We'll actually get to use Leoplorodons in Ark. Isn't that crazy? Next Evo creature for this mod is the Tuso. Oh, we don't really know anything about what the Evo variant's gonna look like. There's no model or anything shown off yet, so it's just up to speculation. But honestly, don't really know what they're gonna end up doing with this one. But we do know that they are going to work on it at some point, probably quite a while from now. These next few creatures are ones that they say they might do, but they also might not. They aren't confirmed on whether they're gonna make Evo variants for them, so we'll just have to see. But the first on this list is the eel. This one would be cool because, I mean, it just doesn't do anything. Like, I mean, I guess it can shock stuff, but nobody ever tames these things, and they're really annoying to tame because they're passive tames and they're super aggressive. I would like them to at least make it rideable because, I mean, it is definitely big enough to be ridden compared to other creatures in the game, so that would be a nice feature to have, and probably make it a little bit useful, and also make it a little bit easier to tame, because I imagine it'd probably be better for the early game, or maybe more mid-game, I guess I would say. Next in this unconfirmed list is the Manta. This one would also be nice just because nobody uses it. It would be cool to see a new model and, you know, some actually cool abilities that can make this guy useful. After that is the Basilosaurus, which actually says that it's going to happen on here, or just says very much yes in the Discord, so it sounds like this one actually will be coming. But since it's in this unconfirmed category, I imagine it might come a little bit later. This one would be cool. I mean, it's already like one of the best underwater creatures in the game, but it could use a new model, I think, and maybe a couple new abilities. Kind of like the Theory. Like the Theories was already useful, but they made it look way better. I imagine they could do the same thing with the Basilo and maybe give it like one or two new abilities. But like I said, it's already really good in the game, so we'll just have to see what they end up doing with it. The Ichthyosaurus is also on that list of unconfirmed creatures, so this one might end up getting one at some point, or it might not. But I imagine this one can definitely get a better model. It's already kind of useful underwater, just for like early game, because it is really easy to tame. I don't know if they'll keep it like that, but we'll have to see. Moving on to the next mod pack, we have the Small Critters pack. I don't know if the name is final. They might end up changing that one, or that one might be sticking, but I think they're still not sure on if that's the final name of the mod pack. But this one's, as you could probably tell, is going to be based on some of these smaller creatures in the game, starting with, as you can see, the dodo. And we don't know too much about this one other than that it's going to have dodo nests that spawn around, which is going to be a part of another taming method for what is going to be the Troodon. So the Troodon is also in this pack, and it is going to lay its eggs in dodo nests. So you can, I imagine, get the eggs of a Troodon from there and then raise them. That's my guess, which would make sense because, you know, they need to change the Troodon taming method. The Troodon taming method is one of the worst things devised by mankind. So if there's anything that comes out of this Evo variant, it's please change the taming method so it's not awful to tame. That would be great. So definitely, I'm just excited for that alone, just to actually be able to tame Troodons, you know, and not have it be awful. After that, in this pack, we have the Carbonemes. Also, something to mention about this one is none of the creatures in here have actually been, like, shown off in the models, so it's all just the dossier pictures that I have here for you to see of their, you know, vanilla versions. And this one, I think, definitely needs it. I think this one kind of looks pretty goofy nowadays. It's definitely outdated model, especially if you compare it to like the Ark alone. The Ark alone looks so much better compared to this thing. So just the giving it a new model would be great. But also, obviously, giving it more abilities. It needs an actual reason to tame it. I mean, it is a tank, so I guess it's good on PvP, but I don't know how many people use it on PvP. I don't ever use it on PvE, though. It's kind of useless in PvE. So, it'd be nice to actually have some more uses for this guy. After that, we have the Dimorphodon. We also don't have any images of what this thing's going to look like for the Paleo version, but I definitely think it could use it. Mainly on the ability side. I mean, obviously, they're probably going to make it look way better, too, but I don't really use the Dimorphodon anymore. I mean, it is good, I guess, in PvP because it can hit creatures while they're mounted, but in PvE, I don't really use this thing at all. There's just so many other shoulder pets that kind of outshine it now, so giving it some new abilities to make it a good shoulder pet would be nice to see. And after that is the Compy, basically the same story as the Dimorphodon. It's getting one in this mod, but, it's pretty useless in the game right now. I think it's even more useless than the Dimorphodon, so seeing this thing useful would be great. And then the last creature for this pack is the Lystrosaurus. I could definitely see this one getting a better model because, I mean, it looks fine right now, but it could definitely look a lot better, I think. So that would be cool to see. And then maybe giving it some more. It does have the XP ability, but seeing some more on there plus would also be nice to give more reason to tame it. Moving on to the next mod pack, which is the Cutthroat Carnivores. This one and the Small Critters pack are not out yet, but they will be at some point. And we're starting with the Baryonyx. This one, it's already kind of useful in the game. I do like using the berry in Ark because, I mean, it has unlimited oxygen. It can do the tail swipe underwater. It's pretty strong for caving, but this is just going to make it even better. And so it's going to make it a pretty awesome caving creature, I feel like. Even though it already is, it's going to make it even better, I imagine. And the model looks great. So here is the concept art of it. As you can see, pretty gnarly looking. Definitely looks way more intimidating than the current one in Ark. The current one in Ark, I feel like, is a little bit derpy looking. Just a little bit on the derpy side. But this one's pretty intimidating. And when it comes to the model, they do have it, they're working on it. So here's the unfinished version of the model. And I think it looks pretty awesome so far. Like I said, it does look like that concept art. Lots of spikes going on, and I like that a lot. So this is going to be a pretty intimidating swamp creature. And a pretty awesome tame, I imagine. Next up is the Carno. This one in the game is in desperate need of a TLC. I feel like it's been in desperate need of a TLC for years. And they will be getting one with this Evo Carno, which is great to see because it's in desperate need of one. It looks so derpy in the game, but this one's actually going to make it look pretty awesome, as you can clearly see here. I think there's like 2 different variants they're working on. I like the ones where the spikes it's got more spikes on it. I think that does look kind of cool for Ark, especially because they're not exactly the most realistic ones in Ark. They're usually kind of more exaggerated. And so I like the more exaggerated version of it, like this one right here with all the spikes coming out of it. I think that looks awesome. And of course, more abilities. I've said that for pretty much everyone, but they are going to do it, and hopefully it can become more useful. I think the Carno is kind of useful mid-game, but I think this would make it even better mid-game. After that, the next creature for the Cutthroat Carnivores mod is going to be the Paleo Evo Allosaurus, and this one looks great. Just from the concept art, I do like it a lot more than the default one. I think the regular Allosaurus looks fine. I've never thought it was like one of the worst looking creatures, but obviously I think they can easily make it look better with this Evo variant, so I want to see that. Next up is the Yutyrannus. This one's also going to be in the Cutthroat Carnivores pack, and the Yutyrannus in the game I think is already really well made. I mean, it was created in like 2017, so it's one of the later creatures, so it's not like super outdated like some of the other creatures that are getting Paleo variants are. So I imagine they will make it look better, but like I said, it's gonna be tough because Yutyrannus in Ark I feel like is already pretty cool and it's already really useful. That doesn't mean I'm not excited to see what they do with it, though. I'm always gonna be interested to see what they can do to these creatures. After that, we have the Dilophosaurus, which we actually do know a decent amount. We don't have a picture of what it looks like in game or the model or anything, but we do know some of its abilities. We know that there's going to be a lesser and a greater version. So the lesser version is basically going to be just like the one that is right now in the game, which is the smaller one, kind of like the Jurassic Park sized one. And then there's going to be like a greater one, or it might just be like the normal one. And that's going to be a way bigger version that is actually rideable. And I think it's going to be frillless. It's going to be rideable and more rare. So That's going to be really cool. Well, a rideable Dillo, that sounds pretty awesome. And it's actually going to be big, like how it should be in the base game. So that'll be cool to see for sure. The Cutthroat Carnivores pack, as you could probably tell, includes a ton of medium-sized theropods, but it's also going to include a bunch of carnivorous amphibians and reptiles as well, starting with the Beelzebufo, which is the giant frog. Once again, I could see this one definitely getting a better model because it just looks alright right now, and maybe improve its mending paste gathering abilities, because that is a really good function of it, but I feel like there's been other ways to get mending paste that has gotten easier, like just stealing it from beavers. But you know, maybe they could make that a little bit more useful, so this guy is like one of the go-to guys for getting mending paste, maybe even more than he is right now. This mod's also going to include the Caprosuchus. Definitely interested to see this one because I never used the Capro, so if this mod can give me a good reason to actually use it, that would be pretty awesome. And one thing I would request is please make it to where it doesn't pounce on me in the wild. I don't know if they will remove that because that is kind of like a core feature of it, but I hate it so much. It's just so annoying. And they put it on every map too. Like, why is it on Lost Colony? That doesn't make any sense. They don't put the Dinosuchus on Lost Colony, but they put the stupid Capro on there, and I get Caproed on it. And Lost, it's so dumb. So hopefully they can remove that feature. I don't know if they will, but please at least consider it. The last creature in the roster for this mod is the Diplocaulus. I'm not sure if this one's confirmed exactly, but I know they are thinking about it at least, if not confirmed. And yeah, I think this thing is useful in the game, but it is very niche use case. It's like early game travel underwater, but maybe they can give it some more functionality and maybe make it you know, something you actually want to try and get in the early game more often. Moving on to the next pack, which is the Flyers pack, and this is the one I am the most excited about. I definitely can't wait for this one to come out. The Flyers pack isn't out yet, but I'm hyped for it. And as you can see, we have the first Evo variant, which is the Pteranodon. Already looks leagues better than the current Pteranodon that's currently in the game right now. So I'm hyped to see this one, especially because the Pteranodon is something you use so much in the early game, and getting it to see a revamp with a whole new model and everything is just going to be so fun. And it looks really good. There's it, you know, with its wings spread out and everything. But something interesting about this one is it's going to have a sexual dimorphism, which basically means that the females and the males look different. So you'll have differences in the males and females. Also, these guys are going to have stats that influence their appearance. So I imagine that's going to be like how the Alcedon works, where you can upgrade different stats and that's going to change the way it looks. That's also a feature I kind of just wish was at every single creature in Ark ever since the Alcedon came out. I think that would make so much sense, and it would just be pretty awesome to have that. But it sounds like that's going to be in here as well. So the stats are going to influence the way it looks. And here's a video of the difference between the males and females, so you can kind of see it, the differences there. Also, when it comes to abilities, all I really know is going to get improved movement. Not really sure on the specifics of that, but if I had to guess, maybe it would get like strafing in the air or maybe like 360 turning. I feel like it definitely has to get a dive. Like, that'd be a huge missed opportunity if they didn't give it a dive, because I think pretty much every flyer should just build a dive. Like, it makes sense, you know? So seeing a dive on this thing would be pretty sweet if they do end up doing that, but I know it is going to get some sort of improved movement. Also, something I noticed here is the colors are just so much more vibrant on the male version as opposed to the female version. And I feel like just because of that, I'm probably going to end up just wanting to get males because they look way cooler in here. But, you know, we'll have to see. Next creature that's going to be in this mod is the Quetzal. Now, this one's already getting a TLC by wildcard, but they have confirmed that they're still going to be doing a Quetzal TLC even if, or even when the wildcard TLC comes out. Only thing I really know about it is that they're going to be removing the platform saddle, and I imagine make it stand upright how it should be standing instead of hunched over like how the real Quetzal is. Other than that, we don't know too much. There's no model or anything right now, so we're just going to have to imagine, but I would love to see what they do with the Quetzal. Can't really complain about getting a Paleo one still because, you know, we're going to get the official wildcard one and a Paleo one, and Quetzal's like my favorite thing to ever exist, so going to be eaten good with two different Quetzal variants that are, I imagine, both going to be really awesome in their own ways. So definitely cannot wait for both of those to come out. Next on the list is the Tapejara. This one I am also pretty excited for. I think all the flyers are just going to be so cool to see new variants of them. And this one I feel like kind of gets underutilized nowadays. I've always really liked it because it has like the strafing movement It's like one of the first flyers to ever be able to like go in all directions and stuff like that, and it can land on walls. It's got the 3-seater saddle. Like, it's got some cool ideas, but I feel like it just doesn't get used that much. And I'd like to see something that makes it stand out even more and give me more reason to actually tame and use it. And of course, you know, see a dive on it too. That would also be pretty sweet. Next up is the Tropionathus. This one and the next one are in the kind of unconfirmed category, so they're not exactly confirmed whether they're coming or not, but it seems like a pretty high likelihood for the both of them. The Tropio, I think if they do it, they might just do new animations, but they could also give it a new model as well. But I think it just definitely needs new animations because it is just stolen from the Tapajara, so it would be nice to see that at least, because it already has some pretty useful new abilities, because it is a newer creature. I mean, it came out in like 2020, so, you know, still newer-ish. Next up is the Pelagornis, which is the last one in this pack so far, and it says it's most likely to be coming, so I think it's most likely. Not really too much to say there. We don't really know anything about the abilities of this thing. I don't know what they would do with it other than obviously give it a new model and give it improved movement and all that stuff. But I'm sure they could come up with something cool. One cool idea I feel like would be nice is maybe it could like dive into the water. I feel like that'd probably be hard to make, but you know, be able to like dive in the water and grab some fish out and, you know, fly back up. I think that would be pretty sweet. Alright, I kind of lied a little bit when I said the Pelagornis was the last one in this pack, because Argentavis is technically on here, but it's not going to get an Evo variant. It's not going to get like a new model or anything like that, but it is going to get some improved movement. Similar to what the movement things they're going to do with like the other flyers in the pack, like the Quetzal and Pteranodon. But we don't know exactly how those movement mechanics are going to work yet, because none of those are out. But I've had to guess this thing would at least get a dive ability, which would be so awesome, because, you know, make up the RGs a little bit faster and more fun to ride around on. But some improved movements on the RG I would definitely love to see, which is exactly what they're going to be doing. And no new model, because, you know, the model on the RGs are already really great because they TLC'd it back in like 2017, so it, or sorry, 2018, so it looks pretty great already. So now that we've gone over all of the mod packs so far for the Evo dinos, we're going to be getting into the new modded dinos that they're going to be adding. So obviously they've been adding their own unique species, like the Empyrosaurus, which is just a completely new dinosaur that they made, or creatures that already exist like the Simbakubwa that they're adding. So there's a whole list of creatures that they're planning on making specifically for this. So we're going to be getting into all of those. And the first creature on that list is the Achillebator. This thing seems to be around the size of how big the raptor is in Ark, or like how big the Ark raptor is. I don't know if it'll actually be that big in the game. I don't know. We don't really know anything about it other than that the Achillebator is coming to the Paleo Ark mods as a new creature. And curious to see what they do with this one, but we don't really know too much about it yet. But it'll be cool to see more kind of like raptor-like creatures, kind of like the Deinonychus or the raptor, obviously. It seems like it's going to be more in that kind of ballpark, so we'll have to see. I'm just having to use pictures of it from the internet, and that's what I want to do for all of these creatures, because obviously there's no pictures of them from in-game Ark, because these are brand new to Ark, so I'm just going to be using pictures online. The next creature coming is the crocodile skink. Now, I did Google it, and all the pictures I found were of this thing, so I'm not exactly sure if this is the thing that they're adding. It could be, so that's what I'm going to be putting here, but I'm not exactly like 100% sure on what this thing is, so that is that, but it is called the crocodile skink, so I think this is what it is, and if it is, then this looks like it would just be a new shoulder pet. The next real world creature coming is the Diabloceratops. This is going to be a new ceratopsian. I think Ark is in desperate need of more ceratopsians, because we have the trike and the patchy rhino, and that is it, and there's so many cool ones that they could add. So this is a good step in that direction. This guy's going to be a little bit smaller than the Triceratops. I don't know what role he's going to play in the game yet, but as you can see, there is a model complete. So you can see actually what the model is going to look like in game. Of course, we don't have like it colored in or anything because it's not finished yet. But I imagine since the model's here, it should be coming. I'm not going to say fairly soon, but some point soon. Maybe some point this year, maybe next year. We'll have to see. Next up, we have the Uintatherium, which is a large mammal. It seems like very unique looking compared to anything else in Ark, so I'm excited for it just for that, just to get some sort of unique species, and more mammal type creatures are always cool to see in here. But once again, we don't really know too much about this. There's no model or anything, so I don't think it's going to be coming anytime soon, but it is planned to be coming. Next up is the Coronosaurus, And this one's obviously going to be a new giant underwater reptile. It looks like it's going to be around the size of the current megalodon in Ark. That's kind of what it looks like from this size chart here. But I don't know how big they'll make it. I feel like they're probably going to make it bigger than that. I don't think it would be around megalodon size, but maybe it will. Like, I don't really know. I'm just speculating on here on what they're going to do with it. But usually they do make them a little bit bigger than they are in real life. So I feel like bigger than this would make sense for this thing. Also, we don't know the release date, but I feel like it makes sense to release something like this near the release of the Atlantis map that's coming next year. Not saying it is coming with Atlantis next year, but I'm just saying it might make sense that they do that. They could also release, like, say, the Evo Megalodon or something like that for the Atlantis release, which would also make sense. So we'll have to see. I imagine they will end up doing something like that, or releasing one of these underwater creatures for Atlantis. After that, we have Miragaia, which is a Stegosaurian, and it's planned to release around Genesis Part 2's release, which Genesis Part 2 is supposed to release in quarter 2 2027, so we got a little bit of a ways, but we do know at least a little bit of a time frame for this thing coming out. Don't know any of the abilities or anything. I did find this picture of a toy of the Miragaia, and I think the way the spikes on it are shown are really cool. I hope they kind of do something like this with the I don't know if you'd call it spike, the plates, I guess is the word I'm looking for, the plates on its back. Like, doing something like that I feel like would be pretty awesome looking. And when it comes to the size of this thing, it's not the largest Stegosaurian by any means. It's definitely smaller than a Stego, maybe around Kentra size, even a little bit longer. I imagine they probably will make it just a tad bit bigger, but hopefully it's rideable at least. I feel like it makes sense if it's rideable, and that would be pretty cool. Because same thing, story with the Ceratopsians, there's not many Stegosaurians in the game, so getting a new one would also be a nice addition. And next up we have the Seismosaurus. This one is also planned to come out with Genesis Part 2, and I think out of all of these new creatures so far, this is the one I'm most excited for. One, because we have official concept art of it, so we can actually see what it looks like, and it looks pretty cool just from the concept art we have here. But also, I definitely think that there needs to be more sauropods. Of course, I said it with the Ceratopsians, but I think for sauropods more so, because there's only the Bronto, the Diplo, and the Titanosaur, and then, of course, there's Amarga and Dreadnoughtus, which are newer additions that they have added in the last few years, but those are, like, on other DLC maps. I think they need to have more sauropods, and they need to actually be on all maps, like the island and stuff like that, just to pad out the sauropod things, so you can have more of them. So this will be a nice addition for that. I love that they're making some more sauropods, and this one seems like a cool one. These next two creatures are going to be ones that are going to be crossovers with another mod developer, which is the Kraken's Better Dinos mod crossover. So it's going to be a crossover for those two mods that are creating these two new creatures, which is the Styracosaurus and the Stygimoloch. Now, of course, there's already skins for these creatures in Ark Survival Evolved, but I imagine these are probably going to be newer versions of them that actually have some unique abilities and stuff like that in here. So that'll be interesting to see what they do with them. And next up is the Torosaurus, another Ceratopsian. And I definitely think we need more of these, like I said earlier in the video. So it'll be cool to see this one. Don't know when it's coming. Obviously, I think the Diabloceratops is going to come before this one, because the pictures I have showing right now are the ones from Jurassic World Evolution. So that's not the actual game, but it gives you a good idea of what it might end up looking like. These next few creatures I don't have any pictures of, so I'll just have to tell you their names. I only have the names of one of them, which is the Saurian Dragon. And then there's going to be a bunch of other dinosaurs that they haven't announced yet that are secrets. So there's a secret medium to large size theropod that could be a whole range of different dinosaurs. There's also a secret fictional omnivorous theropod. Very curious to see what that one is, because that one could be pretty interesting. Could be similar to something like a Deinonychus, but maybe a little bit different. So I want to see what that one definitely looks like. And lastly, there's a secret Stegosaurian, so we'll get another Stego type creature, which will be nice. There's also going to be a couple standalone mods, starting with the Evo Dimetrodon, which is going to be a collab with the Feral Fauna mod with the Paleo Ark team. So that'll be interesting to see. And we already have a picture of the model, so they're already working on it. Looks pretty good. Hopefully it's rideable. I don't know if it will be, because the Dimetrodon is kind of small. It's got the big sail there, but I feel like that'd be pretty cool if you could be able to ride it. It does look like it will have the ability to store eggs on it, which it already has the ability to incubate eggs, so that would just make a lot of sense if you could just attach them to the Dimetrodon itself, and then you could have multiple stored on there. So I think that's a cool idea from this little concept art here. And the last of these standalone mods is that there's going to be a Mega Chalon Evo variant, but it's not really going to be a full remaster. It's basically just going to change its face, I believe. And they said they might make the taming method easier. which I really hope they do, because the taming method on this thing sucks. Also, another thing that was confirmed is that there will be aberrant X and R variants and corrupted variants for all of these creatures. Well, all the ones that have vanilla ones, of course, because, you know, it is supposed to replace the original ones. So creatures that get an Evo variant that have aberrant X or R variants, they are going to get those as well. So that'll be really cool to see as well when those eventually come out. But that is going to be all for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe. As you can see, there's a lot coming to the Evo Paleo mods. I'm very excited for all of it. This is definitely my favorite mod pack because it is just so well made. If you're wondering where I got all this information, I got it all from the Up From The Depths Discord server. That's where you post all of the information for this mod. So if you want to stay up to date on here, then check that out. Also had Depths go through my notes and just correct anything that I had wrong. So that is also another source of information there. So that's where I got all my info if you're just wondering. And like I said, go check out that Discord. It has a lot of information, and like he posts stuff about the mod all the time, like sneak peeks and all that, so you can know when the mod comes out. But anyway, thanks for watching, and bye.